Here's a true story. A car arrived with random misfires, bad idle, and a stack of parts quotes. The engine sounded tired, but the mechanicals were fine. The signals weren't. 10 minutes later, after a map clean and a cautious O2 tip soak, throttle response snapped back. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Then we pulled the cam sensor and found an oil film, cleaned it right. With electronic safe cleaner, microfiber, dry, reseat the O-ring, and timing variation calmed. No brake cleaner, no parts cannon. Watch how a few careful steps can separate a $12 fix from a 4-figure repair. What's the tiny hole, smaller than a grain of rice, that can make your engine feel out of breath? It's hiding in the map sensor's port. And when it clogs, your car starts whispering the wrong story to the computer. The MAP sensor is the load translator. It tells the ECU how much pressure lives in the intake manifold, so the computer can calculate engine load, meter fuel, set ignition timing, and on turbo cars, command the right boost. When that translation is clean and quick, throttle feels sharp, timing stays stable, and the whole engine acts like it knows what you want before your foot finishes moving. Now the bad part. Oil vapor and dust drift through the intake and settle in that tiny passage. Layer after layer, they slow the pressure change reaching the sensor. The reading lags. The ECU sees less air than you're actually taking in and trims fuel back while yanking a little timing. You press the pedal, the car hesitates, then surges. It's not a bad pump or lazy injectors. It's delayed data. We saw it on a high-mileage sedan that stumbled on tip-in and rolled it idle like it needed mounts. No new parts went in. A careful map flush brought it back. The trick is respecting the sensor's delicate internals. Never shove a pick, a wire, or anything solid into that port. The orifice is precisely sized, and the diaphragm behind it is fragile. Distort either, and the calibration is off forever. Use MAF, or contact cleaner only. Short, controlled bursts. Let chemistry do the work. Here's the simple routine. Key off and pockets clear. No sparking surprises. Unplug the connector by the tab, not the wires. Remove the retaining screw or two and lift the sensor straight out. Hold it so the port faces down. Spray the cleaner into the port in short pulses, allowing it to dissolve and drain the residue. Do not touch the diaphragm. Do not blow it with shop air. Set it aside to air dry completely. While it dries, wipe the manifold hole with a clean, lint-free cloth. Only the bore, never the sensor tip. Once dry, reinstall, seat it evenly, snug the bolts, and reconnect the plug until it clicks. Techs who add this to routine maintenance on cars past 80,000 miles regularly see about a 10% bump in throttle response. Not seat-of-the-pants fiction, repeatable, cheap, and reversible. You can see it on a scan tool. Before cleaning, snap the throttle and watch map in kilopascals wander up like it's stuck in molasses. After cleaning, the same snap produces a crisp spike to a peak value, then a clean settle. That faster pressure signal lets the ECU advance timing sooner and command the right fuel pulse right now, which settles idle and smooth shifts on automatics that rely on load for line pressure. The payoff is immediate. That dead throttle wakes up, mid-range pull feels fuller, and a gentle highway drive nets better mileage, all without touching the fuel system. No pump, no injectors, no fairy dust. Just clear the bottleneck in the sensor that tells the computer how hard the engine is working. 10 minutes, a can of the right cleaner, and a light touch. If you've ever chased a stumble, felt the delay, and thought the car was getting old, start with the MAP. Restore the speed of the load signal and the rest of the strategy falls into place. And if residue on one tiny port can bend the truth that much, wait until your exhaust sensor goes blind and the computer starts adding fuel to yesterday's reading. How can soot on a part you never look at steal miles per gallon and make the idle wander? You feel the car add and pull fuel like it can't make up its mind, yet no codes point to a broken part. That slow brain feeling often starts in the exhaust stream with a sensor that's still alive, just reacting late. The oxygen sensor monitors the air-fuel mix around that 14.7 to 1 target. But when the tip is coated in carbon or oil haze, its voltage swings lag behind reality. The ECU corrects based on yesterday's reading, so fuel trims chase their tails, and the tailpipe stays dirty longer than it should. When response slows, the cross counts drop. Instead of a brisk back and forth between rich and lean, the trace crawls, then overshoots. You get richer spikes, lean dips, and the idle hunts to catch up. Many shops swap sensors the moment they see that sluggish trace. You don't have to start there. A careful clean often wakes an old unit long enough to prove your diagnosis, smooth the drive, and buy you time if parts are back-ordered or pricey on your platform. Do it the safe way. Let the exhaust go stone cold so you don't crack the element or burn your hands. Unplug the connector and break the sensor loose with the right socket. Submerge only the sensing tip, just the business end, in fresh gasoline or catalytic cleaner for about an hour. You're dissolving the soot, not blasting it. Pull it out, rinse the tip with a light shot of carb cleaner, and set it aside to air dry. No compressed air, no brushing. Don't touch the tip. Reinstall with a touch of anti-seize on the threads if the manufacturer allows it, snug to spec, and plug it in. Older sensors respond to this more often than you'd think. Roughly 7 out of 10 regain acceptable switching speed after a careful clean. Treat it as a temporary revival, not a permanent cure. The goal is to restore feedback so trims settle and MPG improves now while you verify the rest of the system is healthy. If the response decays again, you've confirmed it needs replacement without firing the parts cannon on guesswork. Here's the part most owners never expect. The camshaft position sensor lives in clean territory compared to the tailpipe, yet it gets filmed by oil vapor over time. That thin layer on the magnetic tip can alter the signal just enough to throw off the timing reference. NGK testing shows even a light oil film can introduce up to 2 degrees of timing error. 2 degrees doesn't sound dramatic, but you feel it as a dull step-off, softer throttle, and a hint of misfire when warm. The ECU can't align spark and injector events perfectly if its clock is smudged. Cleaning the CMP is quick. Find it near the valve cover or timing housing. Unplug the connector, remove the single bolt, and ease the sensor straight out to avoid nicking the O-ring. Spray the magnetic tip with electronic or MAF cleaner only. Then wipe gently with a clean microfiber. No abrasives. Inspect the O-ring. Replace if flattened or cracked. Let the sensor air dry. Reseat it squarely. Tighten the bolt, reconnect, and clear any stored codes so the ECU doesn't rely on old data. Put both pieces together and the car behaves like itself again. The O2 sensor regains sharp feedback, so fuel trims stop wandering and the idle stops nodding. The clean cam sensor stabilizes timing, which smooths combustion and takes the edge off those random misfire counts. With sensors reacting fast and clean, your scan data finally tells the truth, and you can plan the next steps without guessing or overspending. Most sick engine feelings come from bad signals, not worn-out hardware. Clean signals snap power back, calm the idle, and trim fuel use fast. You've seen how quickly that happens when sensors respond on time. Check live data first. Watch MAP, O2, and CMP behavior before you touch a wrench. Then do a careful MAP flush and assess O2 and cam sensors with the right cleaners. MAF or electronic only. No brake cleaner. No probing ports. 10 focused minutes now can prevent a $1,000 mistake later. Run the data, clean the sensors, and let the engine show what it can do when the signals are honest.